Hi, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about kindergarten interventions and how to do them. These interventions usually start the first part of September, but they definitely need to be done starting mid-September. Now, who is in this intervention is mostly based on a child's iStation score and their SICA score of how many letter names and sounds the child has. Now realize that this intervention I am training you on changes as the need of the child changes. So as we go through this intervention, I'll explain a little bit of those changes. So let's talk about what we're going to do in round one, the first round of interventions. And they should look a little bit like this, and you have some options. So this first round really only takes 15 minutes or less. So you have a choice of doing it a couple different ways. You can have your intervention have one or two groups running at the same time. Now, if you do two groups, you will have one group on the iPad for 15 minutes, half the time, and the other group with you in small group instruction. And then in the middle of the intervention, these groups will flip. So note, if you have an iPad group, you will need to train them and spend some time about how to get them, training them how to get on the iPads so that they can be fluent and they can independently get into the iPads themselves. This might take a couple days. So interventions actually don't start until they know this. You gotta teach them the procedures, and children need to have the procedures down so they, again, can independently get to the programs they need to get to. But there's also some other procedures you need to know. All of the students need to know, where do I put my backpack? How do I come into the room? How do I sit at the table? What are you expecting of me in my behavior? Make sure you go through this and teach all of these as part of your intervention. They are kindergartners, and we all know they need a little bit of this instruction. So let's go to the 15-minute lesson and what it looks like. Now, these are being taught to the small group. These lessons can be found in this book, and this book is found in all the kindergarten classrooms and in all the sped rooms around the district. Now, the instruction I'm going to share with you today is found directly in this book. And the routines look like this. It's called the pre-letter name and sound intervention. And I would suggest that all groups start with this intervention. It can be done right after you've trained them on the procedures of how we act in an intervention and what we do. And it's done either between 1 to 3 weeks. It just depends on how long the children need this. Now, a kindergarten teacher should be the one to decide on when you move from this intervention. So let's look at these parts specifically. So the first routine is going to take about 6 minutes. And it's done every day at the beginning. And our objective in this routine is to help children have a better concept that words are made of sounds. Now, this is important. A child, you can teach a child, A says A, B says B, C says K. But if A, B, and K don't live in their realm of what is real, it's hard to teach them this. They need to know where A is, and it's found in a word before we really can hold on, before they can hold on and put that with a letter and understand why. So we really need to help them have some type of concept that words are made of sounds, and that's why we're teaching you this information, or we will be teaching that information. So you can do that, and it can be done as part of a game. And the full instructions are again found in that red binder. The games here are delineated and set right here. So let's look at some of the games. So the first game that you could use is I spy with my little ear. And what you're going to do this is you're in the classroom, you'll say, I spy with my little ear something that sounds like, and you say it very slowly like this. M-a-p, m-a-p. If they're not getting it, you might need to scaffold it a little, go map a little faster, and see if they can guess what the sound is. Now, as they do this, and maybe a couple days later they get better, you could even do another type of game which says, I spy with my little ears something that starts with a t, 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 and they might say table. You see what we're doing? We're trying to get them to understand that words have sounds, so that later when we teach you A says ah, you'll know why we're teaching you that. Now, another game you can play is the cheetah turtle game. And so you're going to tell the children, I'm going to be a turtle, and I'm going to say a word really slowly. You're going to be the cheetah and see if you can figure out what the word is, and then you say it fast. So you would say like this, cat, cat. And they'd be the cheetah, they say, it's cat. And then as they keep doing this, you can even have them be the cheetah, and then, them be the turtle, and you be the cheetah. Now, another game you can play is guess the picture game. You can lay out a number of alphabet cards down and you can have the children pick them up one at a time. As they pick them up, they need to pick it up and they need to say it like a turtle, doing those slow sounds, segmenting the sounds of words. And if they can do it, then they get to keep the card. The children that have the most cards, they win at the end. Now, you can do this another way. That's even a little, you can make it a little bit more difficult if when they pick the card up, they just tell you what the first sound of that word is. So if they get the apple card, they have to say ah. They don't need to know that it's an A, and A says ah as in apple. They just need to be able to hear that first sound. Start segmenting that first sound. Okay, so that's the first routine. Now, then this one is going to be just about 6 minutes. Now, the next routine is going to be writing interventions. And the objective of this routine is to help a child hold a pencil correctly. Now, every kindergarten teacher has a little specifics as how they do this. You need to collaborate with your kindergarten teacher so you guys are on the same page, and you need to do that. They're going to be actually also learning that there are 7 directions in order to help write lines that write letters. Those lines can be found at the bottom of your instruction page, what they are. It's important to use these because this is what we use to help us give directions of how to write a letter. Now, the instructions of what to do in this routine are found here, and I felt they're pretty self-explanatory. So you can read them. If you have any questions or any concerns, you could ask your kindergarten teacher, or please feel free to ask one of your instructional coaches. We would love to help you do this.